This is MATHguide.com. My name is Mark Karadimos. We're going to take a look at a trigonometry problem that's going to require us to use the cosine function. So here I have a problem, and in this problem you could see that there's an airplane. And the airplane is traveling, according to this given information, at a 7-degree angle of depreciation. So of course that means that if the people in the plane, like the pilot, were to look forward towards the horizon, they're going 7 degrees below that. So the 7-degree angle is below that line to the horizon. Alright, so we've got the situation where the plane is 10,000 feet up in the air. That's the altitude of the plane. What we're trying to do is determine what is the distance from the airplane to the airport. So the 7-degree angle of depreciation is that plane's flight path down to the airport. Okay, well, first of all, I would, to do this problem, I would kind of march through it and say, well, what is the angle that's inside the triangle? I always want to find internal angles there. So I have this altitude that goes down, and of course that is always a perpendicular to the ground, so I definitely do have a right triangle here. And I want to figure out, well, what is this angle inside the right triangle? Well, again, this altitude is a perpendicular to the line of sight to the horizon, so we would say that this is a 90-degree angle. So 7 degrees plus 83 degrees would form a 90-degree angle there at the top. So that's got to be an 83-degree angle right there. Okay, so now that I have this triangle, I could see that I am going to use the cosine function because, recall, you've got SOHCAHTOA. So you've got the ka, right? C-A-H. The C-A-H means cosine adjacent over hypotenuse. So if here is your angle inside the right triangle, this side right here is right next to the angle. So we would call that the adjacent side. Okay, this side right here, which is unknown and is the side that we want to find, I'm going to call this D for distance. That distance is the hypotenuse, right? It's opposite the right angle, so is the hypotenuse. So we're really trying to find the hypotenuse, but we have the adjacent side. So adjacent, hypotenuse, right? Adjacent side, hypotenuse side. That means we're going to use the cosine function. Okay, so that's a kind of the background there of why I'm using it. Okay, so now let's actually start to form some ratios here. Well, if I take the cosine of 83 degrees, it's got to be equal to the adjacent side, 10,000, over the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse we don't know. The hypotenuse is plain old D. Alright, so I'm going to put this side over 1 so that I actually form a ratio. And of course you know that you cross multiply to form this, to solve this. So I'm going to multiply these guys together to get 10,000. 10,000 times 1 is 10,000. And then I multiply D times the cosine of 83. So it's just D times the cosine of 83. Now to solve for D, I actually do have to divide both sides by the cosine of 83. So what is the distance? D is going to be equal to that 10,000 on the right side divided by the cosine of 83. So just doing a little bit of algebra there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to throw this value, this fraction, this division problem really, into a calculator, and the calculator comes up with this answer, 82,055. Okay, of course we're dealing with feet because we know that this is 10,000 feet. Alright, so if this is our answer, which is a perfectly good answer, sometimes though we would like to know how many miles that is, just to get an idea. It's kind of hard to grasp a distance there. So if you remember, 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So I do have to divide that by 5,280 feet, and that would tell us how many miles that is, which I did earlier. And that's around 15.5 miles. Okay, so depending on which unit we want our answer in, take your pick. You could use either one of those. Alright, so I know the plane is now 15 miles, almost 16 miles to the airport. So check out our other videos on trigonometry and our other topics. Check out our interactive quizzes and other text lessons. Take care.